Guys, this is the second part of markup discount, and we're going to add tax to this. I'm going to show you a couple examples of the problem and how sometimes you do the problem once and it's not done, as you can see here. Not all your problems will look this way. We're still to the point where you'll do one and the other. But I wanted to show you how to do this. So first off, a tax, need to have this down, is something that's added to a cost. A discount gets subtracted, and a markup gets added. That's going to help you. The other part of this is finding percents of numbers. So when I have the markup at 20% of $29.95, what I need to be thinking about is what is 20% of $29.95, and then filling it in with this. Remember, what is the same as X? Is the same as equals. Of means multiply. X is 20%. I have to change that back to a decimal, 0.20 of times, going to use that decimal dot, or excuse me, that multiplication dot there, of 29.95, and I'm going to pull up the calculator, and I'm going to go 0.20 times 29.95, and I get $5.99. I have to think of this as money. This all is done by cash registers, but the more you can do it in your head, the better you'll be. So thinking of this as dollars, that means the markup is $5.99. Notice how my work flows down and across. That's how your work needs to go. So $5.99 is the markup. I need to add this to the original price, and $29.95 plus $5.99 is $35.94. But I'm not done yet. This particular problem has a tax. A tax is something you pay after the price. In Iowa, we have what's called a sales tax. A sales tax is something that you pay for buying an object, and that money goes to the state of Iowa. In Iowa, it is a 7% sales tax that you pay per dollar. So what that means is, of every dollar that you spend here in the state of Iowa, you pay 7 cents of tax. $2, now you've paid 14 cents, and it keeps multiplying per dollar. Tax, again, gets added to the amount, and you can only find tax after you know the marked up price. So when I go to Walmart and buy something that the store bought for $29.95 and they're turning around and selling it to me, the $35.94 price is the shelf price. This is what I see on the shelf. The sticker on the item says $35.94. So that means I need to go back through and say, start my new problem and figure out what is 2% of that. So what is 2% of this number? 35.94. So what is 35% of 94? Turn it into that percent equation. What? X is equals 2%. I'm going to change that back to a decimal. 0.02 of times 35.94. Do the math. 0.02 times the 35.94 times 0.02. And I see that it's 0.7188. Well, I have to convert this into dollars and cents. I have to make it make sense as dollars and cents. Well, I'm not going to add a full dollar to it, but I have at least 71 cents, so I'm going to round to the nearest cent, which is to the nearest hundredth. So I look back. 8 is a power-up number. That tells me that this 1 has to become a 2. And so there's 72 cents of tax that needs to be added to this, which is the sales price plus the 72 cents. So we're going to condense this down to 72 cents, 0.72 plus the 35.94, and we get $36.66. So that means my final answer is $36.94. Okay, notice how much work I had to do. This is my communication. This is how you communicate to me that you know what you're doing. Without it, I have to assume that you don't know how to do it. We'll try it again with this cost of the goldfish. Okay, look at the goldfish. The goldfish is $3.45, but they marked the price up by 29%. So this $3.45 right here is what the store bought the fish for, not what I'm going to buy the fish for. So I need to think of what is 29% of $3.45. So I write it. I write it because if I write it and then follow this, I'm not going to make a mistake. I'm telling you the steps to follow so you don't make a mistake. Follow my steps and you won't make a mistake. What is 29% of $3.45? Now I have to change this into a percent equation. So what? X is equals 0.29, change that back to a decimal, of times $3.45. Solve. 0.29 times $3.45, and it's $1, boom, boom, 0.0005. Well, I want to round to the nearest hundredth. Look next door, it's a 0. So I'm going to count this as $1 worth of markup. So X equals $1 in markup. I have to add it to the store price, to the $3.45. I can do that math in my head. $3.45 plus 1 is now $4.45. So when I go to the fish tank and I see the goldfish I want to buy, this is the price I see. This is the $4.45. Again, we still have a 2% tax. So I need to ask myself, what is 2% of the sales price? What is 2% of $4.45? Do my percent equation. What x is equals 0.02 times $4.45. Pull up the calculator. .02 times 4.45, and now I have 0.089. This is not 89 cents. Tenths and hundredths. I round to the hundredths. This is an 8. This is a 9. 9 is a power-up number. Tells 8 to round up to a 9. So 0.09. There is 9 cents tax in this problem. So x equals 0.09. But since it's a tax, that means I have to add it to what the sales price is. So when I go to the cashier at the front of the store, this is what they're doing when they plug it into the cash register. 9 cents of tax for this amount, $4.45. Add it together, and I get $5, and 4 plus 5 makes $14.54. Being my final answer. If you're getting stuck knowing what to do, here's what I would recommend. My steps for solving. Let's go ahead and grab a smaller. Okay, my step 1 would be create a word problem. I created a word problem each time. 1, 1, 1, 1. Here's my word problem. What is 2% of $4.50? What is 29% of $3.45? What is 20% of $29.95? What is 2% of $35.94? That's your first step. Second step would be to create or change into a percent equation. X equals 0.20 times 29.95. Here it is again, 0.02 times 35.94. Here it is again. And again, I'm using this. This. What is X means equals, of means time, to change my word problem into a percent equation. After I've done that, I solve. Here you can use the calculator. Step 4. If it's a tax, you add. If it's a markup, you add. If it's a discount, we all love discounts because we take money off. Here I added. That was my markup. So here's my step 4. I added. This was my tax. I added because this was markup. And I added here because this was tax. So this is kind of a quick 4-step guide to how I would solve for markup. Remember, markup is a price added so that a store can make money. Discount, you get money back, so that's why we subtract. And tax, nobody likes a tax because that's money extra you have to pay, so that's why we add. Okay, if you can remember that, along with the idea that equal signs are substituted for is, multiplication substituted for of, and X substituted for the word what, you will have no problem with this step. You're going to have a worksheet with these types of problems on it. You need to show this work. This is how you communicate. You need to follow these steps, remember these keys, and you'll be just fine.